So this real-side experience would highlight this very notion that during an apocalyptic event and reset, from the bones and ashes of what remained would emerge the survivors, and among the survivors always there are individuals of a controlling and dominating bent. How they will once again establish themselves as an authority. How, as it was demonstrated in this experience, they will begin to garner agreement to their position. They must begin by presenting as though their position would be beneficial. The marketing ploy begins in its rudimentary infancy, but as much as they are inclined to be controlling, the vast majority are inclined to be controlled. After all, most people spend lifetime after lifetime cowering at the controller's feet. The fear embedded in their created consciousness, assuring that they will slip back into the decided role as a slave, acquiesce and agree to whatever are the idea dictates of the controlling systems of the day. So really, an emerging tyrant has rather an easy time of it. He wouldn't need to be that convincing, as the majority are already primed through the construction of their programmed personal selves to adhere and agree to anyone who presents as a comfort zone controller type, to surrender responsibility of their experience over to another. A feel-good, comfortable situation for their personal selves, accepting restriction through the fear of the consequences of not doing so. The underlying, uneasy, unconscious stirrings from the causal memory body, ever present, even if not recognized, of being tortured and killed for not obeying in previous lifetimes. This very instrumental in the reigniting of their decision to acquiesce and agree once again. And if these decided upon attitudes and considerations are maintained across lifetimes, across resets, and even across simulator implosions and recalibrations, if people stay with their personal selves and attitudes then we always will have the agreeing slaves and the emerging slave masters, as this dynamic will repeat itself across the endlessness of creational experience. But then we can still view this objectively as experience for the personal self, regardless of golden age utopias or final cataclysmic reset end times. And it has been said that all experience, from golden to restricting iron epoch, is necessary to move the awareness along to a point where enough experience is gleaned in all its various forms and variety, to where the real self decides to become more aware and wake up to the recognition of itself and the true reality of the all is, that the full range and diversity of experience that is necessary can only be so if we have the tyrants and the intergalactic villains that through their actions and the agreement they secure do move the epochs through their deteriorating cycles, and thus provide a far greater variety of experience. For if we all sat in a golden age, the experience would be rather limited. It would be delightful too, as close to a paradise as can be found in a simulator, but less incentive would there be to want to recognize the real intent and acknowledge the purpose of the simulators, that being to recognize the is from them. Nothing like a little upheaval and harsh circumstance to incentivize the individual to want to extricate themselves from positions which become unsavoury, although there must surely come a point where destroying worlds and simulations that are the training grounds for all to recognize the is through makes little sense. Always is then the opportunity for all, villain and agreeable slave alike, to decide something different, to assume new positions in creation, and then universal positioning with the is, a position that is here and now in creation, but requires the recognition for the assumption of it by taking the risk and accepting the opportunity to become more aware that is provided by the real guides, Dwayne, and the whole of life in this very new nowness moment.
Yes, so that's very important, and what you're seeing, and the L. Ron Hubbard thing, etc., and with all that's been created, things start off as a particular, just like what Paul created, and we've been through this many times, and it's all okay, and it all goes its own way. The other night, I paid a visit to the to Joni's membership, Reptilian Joni and Scary Harry's membership on the real side. And I was in this room, it was a square room, and I was just over in one corner of it, and there was like a bench all along the wall, one of those benches that you see like in hallways or something when you're waiting or the doctor's office or whatever, and it's all along the wall, there was nothing in the middle, and all the members were side by side, sitting side by side, but they weren't as people. They were like pizza dough. They were like, mounds of dough sitting there against the wall, stuck to each other. And I even put my hand between them and couldn't get really between them. In other words, they wouldn't let me in was the idea, but I could hear them talking. And one of them said, "What is he doing here?" And so again, this is what it's all become, because Paul started off, and these, just like Peter had mentioned about that guru. And I suggest people see that documentary. It's a good one, because if with all the sound good stuff in this world, no matter what it is, if it's not focused in a real, sincere reference to the all is, then it's just something in creation that sounds good, and that's as far as it goes. And even those people that are very sincere with themselves, if they don't have the recognition of that reality, then no, they're not there. And so again, it's a choice, and it's also a warning. Also, what I saw too, which was the fun part, wasn't there, but it was another experience. Ava and I have created, I decided to set up something here for parent and child as seers, because the children can see. Now, there's many things going on in this world, like the star children, the rainbow children, etc. And I looked at these things, and pretty much so they have their own ideas. Position that I'm seeing is these children can see. This is how I raised my daughter, Lindsay, and she was wonderful until a particular age of about 12, where she said, "Oh, I'm not doing that anymore." And so what I saw on the real side was 5 to 6 individuals staring straight ahead, right in front of me, and they had like Clark Kent glasses on, like the dark rimmed, heavy rimmed glasses that you see a lot of people wear today. That's kind of the fashion, or etc. Only these glasses were a little bit bigger, okay, about 20-30% bigger. They're kind of big, and they were like a medium blue, and there was no glass in them. And so the glasses represent the physical, because only in the physical do you need glasses. And on the real side, you don't need glasses. And there was no glass in them because these individuals could see through the physical. And so, again, just like many things, make the decision to bring in more of these seers and see who on the real side wants to come in and step up and be real, take the risk, and be seers. To see what's going on with this world, to warn people, to let them know, etc. And just like Kevin's experience, unless people wake up, it's all going to hell, you might say. It's all creating its own doom. Because yes, the black holes in this creation and all through creation, all through this realm and all through creation are very, very real. Book 4, I describe it. and the etheric as the supreme deceptor, because that's part of the influence. That's the bigger part. So there's a lot more to this than just a cute little spiritual path. It's real survival to recognize this isness. And that has to be decided now by those that want to survive through this, because nobody can be carried into the real universes. You have to earn your way. You have to see it. You have to stand up. You have to be sincere 100%, and you have to figure it out. So you have the best guidance, but so much of the time I've seen people come and go simply because they many times are frustrated because they can't figure it out. So they think of some excuse like it's my fault or I didn't do this or whatever. Well, what is it that I haven't done? It's all there for everybody. We all have to figure it all out. We all decide every single moment. So it's all in the deciding, because it will not be decided for you. So yes, thank you so much, Kevin. I'm very grateful that you're here. You and Pierce, etc., especially, are the great witnesses that have stepped forward. You get the experiences. And those that do, I suggest that if people want to earn their way, they start a Skype group, they share on Facebook, etc. You do whatever you can to get past that personal self, because there's only so much time, and it takes a whole lot to recognize this isness and become okay with the reality of the real universes, as opposed to attachments and relationships and just in creation. So it's the bigger picture, and I'm very, very grateful for Paul and what he did and all the years that I've done this, 50 years since Paul, and it's taken me this long to figure this out, but here it is. So we're all very fortunate, and again, it's the sharing and it's the focus. This helps you become more aware. So it's standing real with each other and supporting each other realistically. So yes, thank you, kids. It's all for you. We'll see you next time. Yes, start a Skype, have some fun, take the adventure, and take the risk, and do something you've never done before. Yes, have fun. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.